So I want to talk about all the people who are being offended right now. And no, I don't mean the typical ones who won't allow you to question a race or talk about transgenderism in a non positive light. No, I'm talking about the people who are being offended because they're asked to wear a mask. I don't get any of it. But this has triggered a lot of people. That's not a play on words, but it might be because there have been shootings, guns being pulled, and fights because of masks, of somebody being requested to put on a mask or required in some instances to enter a public domain. Why? And it just doesn't make sense. I don't have such a problem if the people really believed that this is their right to wear a mask. It's more so because logically it doesn't add up. The people who are refusing to wear a mask, and not all of them, most of them, are also usually the people who side on that far right, big government is scary kind of line. And now, when they can hide their identity, when they can honestly, a bunch of them have some pretty awesome bandanas that they've had for years. They can actually use those now. They don't want to. Now it's time to walk around with their face out. It doesn't make sense. You want them to know who you are? I thought that's how they find you. And also, why did you buy that bandana if you're never going to use it? Some of you know what I'm talking about. There was even, and this isn't a joke, a statesman, I believe he was in Missouri. He said that he would not wear a mask because his face, God created it. And to hide his face would be to hide God's beauty. Now, if I was God, I would say, no, you can go ahead and cover that up because that was a rough draft. But seriously, I mean, that's just a religious fanatic. And also, by that logic, well, then God created my dick. Is it cool if I walk around with my dick hanging out everywhere? No, it's not. My point is for the people who claim that the left is a bunch of whiny crybabies who are easily offended, and yes, a lot of times they are. This other group is shooting people because they're being told to wear a piece of safety equipment, and they can't handle it. I mean, that is essentially the most offended I've ever heard of, is that you kill someone because you're so offended. Really? Because you don't want to put some sort of apparatus over your face that kind of conceals who you are and, I don't know, protects you and protects other people? That you are a good American. Because a lot of these people say they are. Well, why don't you give a fuck about Americans? Put a fucking mask over your face and stop coughing everywhere. None of it makes sense. Was it all just to own the libs? So do you believe that your local store is filled with libs? Is that what you think the entire country is libs everywhere? I understand being rebellious. And I understand making a statement. Trust me, I do. But at some point, you have to understand what kind of statement you're trying to make. Like me, I am an atheist. I used to let everyone and their dog know I was an atheist. And then I realized, after a while, that all I'm doing is really ruining a lot of people's days. People like my mom, who's not an atheist. I was literally ripping out any sort of comfort she had. Why? To make a point. I was hurting somebody I cared about just to express who I am because I was that goddamn entitled. And that's exactly what a lot of these people are doing. Because without a doubt, the coronavirus is real. It is spread through particulates that come out when we talk. It is highly infectious. All of these things are true. You want to open up the country again. You want to get the economy going back. You want your job back. All that's fair. So follow one goddamn rule. I don't even care if you wash your hands. Don't wash your hands. It's fine. You'll be the one that gets it. Unless you work with the public, don't wash your fucking hands. But put a fucking mask on. Is it that hard? I mean, are you the guy or girl who shows up to work and refuses to wear a name badge? Is that you? Because that fucking person's an asshole. Look, you're not making a big statement by doing it. You're just showing you're an asshole. You're just showing, oh, I'm entitled. And I only worry about myself. I don't care about anyone else. And I definitely don't give a shit about the country. That's really all you're doing. And meanwhile, you're leaving yourself widely exposed for being the next snowflake who can't handle a fucking comment, who gets triggered at being told, hey, cover your fucking face. You're spitting everywhere. I mean, I guess the alternative would be is to just shut your mouth, but I don't know how well that'll work either. And I'm saying this as nicely as I possibly can. Because, look, most of the people who I'm talking to, you're not them. But there are these people who, and yes, they're the loudest in the fucking room, who want us to get back to normal. They want their jobs again. They want the economy open. But they can't even do one simple thing to help do that. I mean, they can't stay inside their house to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. So they can't just sit on their ass. They can't do that. That's impossible. Okay, fine. We're going to reopen. Well, they can't even put on one fucking mask. Like, can you not do anything to help? No, you can't. Why? Because you're an entitled bitch. You are selfish to the core and only think about yourself. Well, Donald Trump's not right. Who gives a fuck about Donald? You know, Donald Trump also sleeps on gold sheets. Do you? No. Donald Trump has slept with a fuck ton of porn stars. Have you? No. Donald Trump probably needs 3 Cialis to get it up anymore. Do you? Well, maybe. Depends on your diet. All I'm saying is this comes from a group who has more tactical gear than most of the contract mercenaries in Southern America. They are prepared for every goddamn situation and always willing to tell you about it. They have guns like you've never seen. They have most of the stuff that we all want. They were prepared for this. They were ready for it. And they're also worried about the government. But yet they refuse to use any of it. They refuse to do anything with all their little toys they have. And now is the time they could actually use some of them. But they don't. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. Is it that hard to put a mask over your face? I don't know. I really am curious why this is such a problem for people. Why it's led to shooting, to violence, when it's a real simple thing to do. And if I'm being honest, I love going around with a mask over my face. Number one, cuts down on small talk. That's huge for me. Hate the small talk, completely avoid it. No one can really make out your expression. Love that. But furthermore, you're protecting people, and you actually you have this kind of layer between you and the outside world with that mask on. And it's nice because right now you probably don't want what's out there, no matter what it is. But I mean, and look, I admit I'm weird I mean, I'm an introvert to the core. I am totally. I don't understand why people are all upset about not going outside. People are complaining about not being able to have a picnic. A picnic? Really? What the fuck are you, in the 50s? Who enjoys a picnic? Whatever, apparently people do. I don't get it. But I really don't get why you wouldn't just put a mask on. You want all these things to happen, but they won't wear a mask. One simple thing. I mean, again, I understand being contrarian, but when you're a contrarian, you also have to do things to help your cause. I can't sit here and say we need Medicare for all, we need a UBI, we need all these things, and then not vote for it, and then actively bash people who are trying to make those things happen. That would be ridiculous. It's just like this. Hey, we need to open up. We do. Put on a fucking mask. Get out of people's bubble. People don't want you in their fucking shit anyway. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I'm really curious what you guys think. Why aren't people wearing masks? What's the point that's made? And if you are one of those people and you somehow hung in through this, you're probably really pissed at me. Um, just I'm curious. What do you gain by not wearing a mask? Why is it so important to you to show your face? Uh, is it like a religious thing, which is weird, and I don't get that. On both sides, by the way, and I've said that for a long time. Friends with like actually more Muslims than you would believe, but I don't really. I've questioned them all the time about the covering the face. Like, why? I have no attachment to any religion whatsoever, and so don't understand. If that's it, that's fucking weird, honestly, especially now. But also, yeah, well, why? Why is it so hard to do that? I get why maybe it was hard to stay home, especially if you're worried about your job and you have no money coming in. Fair enough. But a mask, 6 feet away from people. Why do you want to be right up next to people? Why do you want to be in that space? What do you get from that? That's weird. Honestly, it's kind of, I don't know. If someone's in my space. If I'm sitting there shopping and some person just gets right up in like with the 3 feet within me, I just feel like they're being creepy. I don't know. You don't have to actually be there. Why be there? I don't get any of that. But please, I would love for you to educate me. Why not a mask? Is it all just, owning the libs? Seems like a lot of work. I would. That's almost like being racist. Like I'm too lazy to be racist. I don't have that in me. Or the people who adamantly hate Republicans. I don't have that in me. I don't have the time. I got other stuff to do. Anyway, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Thanks a lot, guys. You have a good one. Take care.